Before I start talking, I have to warn all of you that this video contains major spoilers for the entire story of the operator. Now, imagine this. You are a newly employed operator working for the FBI. That's the Federal Department of Intelligence, if you did not know. You have a quick chat with one of your good friends and the director of the FBI, who is the one who got you this job. Furthermore, you are also introduced to your supervisor. He is the man that helps you if there is a problem you cannot solve and is the one who connects you to any agent that needs help. He is basically your best friend in this line of work. Now imagine getting to your third day of working here, only to find out that your good friend the director is working with an organization that experiments with brainwashing, leading to many people getting killed, and that your supervisor also ends up being a twist villain. Not fun, right? Well, that is the operator in a nutshell. A twisted, untrustworthy and paranoid piece of a game. So let's talk about it. The main thing I want to talk about in this video is why I think the operator is the nearly perfect don't trust anyone game. Because let's be real, no game is perfect. To talk about this, I want to cover topics like the enormous amounts of paranoia you face in the game, how you're constantly doubting everyone you meet in the game, and how the story keeps players guessing who's really on their side. Just like with all of these videos, I'll quickly go over the story of this game, so if you already know it or just don't want to hear it, then skip to the timestamp on the screen. And without further ado, let's begin. So you are first of all an operator, a person that is there to help any FBI agents with things such as identification of people and evidence examination. Oh, and also bomb defusing, but that only happens once. You help these FBI agents by using the various programs on your computer. Now, while you are doing all of these things, there is also a conversation between you and the agent, supervisor, or other third-party member who we will get to. Now, all of this seems sort of normal, right? Well, don't be deceived by the very simple gameplay loop, because there is much more to this game than simple detective work. For example, you are very quickly in the game faced with a choice. After being hacked by someone named Hal, she gives you a vital piece of video footage that you up until now didn't have access to. And unsurprisingly, the agent you are talking to asks about the footage that you magically got a hold of. Since she was, after all, the one that sent the original footage but with a part missing. You can now, as the operator, tell a lie or the truth. The choice ultimately doesn't matter, since there is only one ending to this game, but I still found myself spending quite a bit of time on this choice, because I didn't know if my choices had an impact on the story. I was fascinated and interested in the hacker, so I ended up telling a lie to the supervisor. Now, would I have done the same thing if this was the real world? I'm not sure. But here I was not totally sure that I was making the right call. And this paranoid feeling of doubting everyone in the game is what makes these pretty simple choices seem so difficult. Another moment that happens later in the game is when you're questioning someone named the Ghost for information about what the game calls the organization and Project Eve. Before starting this dialogue, you are told by the Ghost that you have to answer truthfully if you want him to answer your questions. Once again, the choices you ultimately make does not matter, aside from missing a few pieces of dialogue. But the fact that you're supposed to trust this man and tell the truth yourself makes for interesting pauses where you are just sitting there, deciding what to ask or answer. Should you listen to this man and solve the case with the FBI or with Hal? A choice that you sadly don't get to make, since there is after all only one ending to this game, where you have to trust and say yes to cooperate with Hal. It's especially sad to find out that you have the tools to deceive and lie to the FBI, but that it doesn't mean anything for the overall story. But you of course don't know that if you are playing this game blind for the first time. Now, to further analyze the topic of doubt in this game, I want to talk about why we so easily in the operator fall into patterns of distrust amongst the people we are working with. It shouldn't be a surprise by this point that we end up working with some very fishy people throughout our very short time as an operator. Yet I still ended up trusting a hacker and a rogue FBI agent more than my own supervisor. But why? Well, first of all, it's established very early in the game and even said by our own character that he doesn't think the supervisor likes him. With it also being a bit boring to listen to all of the agents and people talking to us, it's only natural that when a hacker turns up out of nowhere and wants our help, we of course help them. Now, I am not a psychologist, so I don't have a scientific reason for why I trust a hacker more than a supervisor. But if I had to say something about it, I think that it has something to do with mysteries. It's no lie that most of us likes a good mystery. We like it when the good guy trusts and works together with the bad guy. So when we are offered the choice to dive deeper into a bad guy's story, it's pretty likely that it's the route we will choose to follow. All of this is of course only possible if you are immersed enough into the game to a point where rational decisions gets thrown out of the window due to our curiosity. That is one way to look at it, but not the only one. A thing that becomes pretty clear from the start of the game is that almost everyone you are working with have some type of suspicion about them that they are trying to hide. People such as Hell don't want to, for obvious reasons, want to reveal their real identity. Not until the end of the game at least. Your supervisor Xavier Skinner also don't want you to look into certain evidence that could be vital to solving the big mystery in the operator. With Xavier also not being the kindest person in the world, it's very easy for someone to dislike him. And our good friend Mike, you know, the director of the Eye, yeah, he straight up works together with the organization that also made Project Eve, which is the brainwash memory altering project. It's easier to just play the game in order to understand the story. For the other agents we end up working with, there is not really anything suspicious about them. I mean, one of them doesn't like us very much, but that's because he hates the entire operator program, so it's nothing worth covering. Now, I think that a combination of all of these suspicious characters is the thing that makes us side with the bad guy, who is also extremely suspicious. I mean, Hell is in the game the most wanted hacker on the FBI's wanted list. A final thing that I also want to highlight for this topic is that we at the end of the game find out that we were one of the test subjects in Project Eve. But due to memory manipulation, we don't remember that our real name is Sasha Cole and that we had a wife and a baby. All of this leads to an interesting question. Can we even trust ourselves? We find out that our name is a lie, our relationship is a lie, and that our job is a lie. How are we as an operator supposed to make life or death choices when one of the people we are looking for is our past self? We sadly don't get to look into all of these questions as we are quickly killed off after finding out who we really are. The last thing I want to talk about is how certain characters' motives unexpectedly change for the better or worse. And the first person I want to talk about is Hell is a classic example of a bad guy turned good with time. When you meet Hell for the first time, you are equally interested as you are defensive. A hacker that you don't know the identity of just gained access to your computer. So you are allowed to ask obvious questions such as, who are you, what do you want, I don't trust you, and similar questions. But as time passes and hell slowly rewards you with vital pieces of evidence in exchange for cooperation, you begin to like and trust the person behind the false identity. And when you finally uncover Hell's true identity and reason for hacking you in the first place, it's like she isn't even a mischievous hacker anymore. Alice Truman, which is Hell's real name, just wants to help. With her also being a past operator and now our friend, we will of course trust her with almost anything. And she returns the favor by not just uncovering our true identity, but also warning us about the things that we are about to witness in the game. A true friend at the end of the day. Now enter our supervisor Xavier. He starts out as your general good guy and supportive individual. He helps you when you have any questions or when you are stuck. But as the game progresses, he begins to fight against you. There are certain things he doesn't want you to figure out, like the fact that he is working with the Ghost in order to cover up anything that had to do with Project Eve. In some cases, he succeeds. All of the eyewitnesses end up dead or removed due to certain accidents or similar things. Xavier is overall a good example of a good and trustworthy guy turned evil. Now, was it very surprising when he was revealed as a twist villain? No. There was something very suspicious about him from the start. But he served his purpose as a third party working in the shadows. And I also think that waiting until the end of the game before revealing Xavier's true intentions was a very good choice from a gameplay standpoint. The last person I quickly want to cover is Mike, our main character's very good friend. Now, from an analytics standpoint, there is not much to cover about Mike and his sudden motive changes, since we don't have too many conversations with him. But if I had to place myself in the shoes of Evan Tanner, which is the name of our main character, didn't I already say that earlier in the video? Never mind. I think that it must have been a lot to process for Evan that one of his very good friends turned out to be a man working for the same organization that altered his memories. Oh, he also dies if I didn't already mention that. Mike seems like a really good guy, despite us only talking with him a couple of times. And I can't even begin to imagine what I would do if I was in a similar position as our main character. We end up dying at the end of the game, which is sad. But the scariest thing to me is not the fact that we die or that all of the people we have come to trust suddenly turn out to be bad guys. But the fact that we managed to uncover all of the secrets about ourselves only to get killed off right after learning all of those things. Imagine finding out that everything about you is a lie and that you had a wife, a baby and a life that was stripped away due to a science project, and that you get killed by the man who's trying to cover everything up. I personally can't think of a much worse way to die than to have all of the answers to a problem only for someone to take your life as you are about to expose them and take everything in. Hopefully we'll one day get a sequel to this game so that we can avenge our operator Evan Tanner. And with that said, thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. If you have any ideas for future videos, then please leave a comment about them down below. Remember to leave a like and a sub if you enjoyed the video. And until we meet again, bye bye.